Well, a night of glamour in Washington, D.C. turned into a scene of panic and chaos. What was supposed to be a high-profile evening of politics, media and celebration ended with gunshots, screams, and a dramatic security evacuation of President Donald Trump. Our next report tells you how the incident unfolded at the White House Correspondents Association annual dinner.
The first indications that something had gone wrong came around 8:35 p.m. Trump, attending the dinner as president for the first time, was on stage with wife Melania when the evening took a shocking turn. Loud bangs suddenly interrupted the event. At first, some in the room thought it was a tray falling. But within seconds, the reality became clear. Cries of "stay down" and "get down" echoed across the ballroom as guests dove for cover. Secret Service agents immediately surrounded the president and First Lady with weapons drawn. They escorted the president off stage through a back curtain as the crowd crouched in fear. The big band music stopped. The venue, the Washington Hilton, carries its own historical weight. It was the same hotel where President Ronald Reagan survived an assassination attempt 45 years ago. Journalists inside described a moment of pure instinct.
There were some shots. I didn't fully hear the shots, or it's like I didn't realize it was happening until I was like, oh gosh. And then there was a little commotion. The president then, or Secret Service, they rushed toward the president and took him out. Although, so there was a lot of kind of waiting time until they started sort of escorting people out or telling people to leave.
The fear was palpable. No one knew whether the threat was over. Trump later said a lone wolf gunman had forced his way through security screening just outside the ballroom.
The man has been captured. They're going to his apartment. I guess he lives in California. And he's a sick person, a very sick person. And we don't want things like this to happen.
Within minutes, the entire room was evacuated. The president's motorcade left the hotel just after 8:40 p.m. and returned to the White House. A short while later, Trump appeared in the White House briefing room, still dressed in black tie. Trump said he had wanted to remain at the event, but was advised to leave by Secret Service.
It's always shocking when something like this happens. Happened to me a little bit, and that never changes. The fact, we were sitting right next to each other, First Lady on my right, and I heard a noise and sort of thought it was a tray. I thought it was a tray going down. I've heard that many times, and it was a pretty loud noise. And it was from quite far away. He hadn't reached the area at all. They really got him. But so it was quite far away, but it was a gun.
He also reassured the public that the gala would be rescheduled. Trump also shared the pictures of the suspect. He was later identified by a law enforcement official as Cole Thomas Allen, a Los Angeles area man who appeared to be a Caltech graduate working as a part-time teacher and game developer. Facebook postings appearing to relate to Cole show that he was named Teacher of the Month in December 2024. The acting U.S. Attorney General Todd Blanche later said that the motive of suspected shooter remained under investigation. But preliminary findings suggest he was targeting Trump administration officials, including the president. The investigation is underway.
The defendant will be arraigned on Monday in federal district court. But make no mistake, there will be many more charges based upon the information that we are learning in this very fluid situation.
But for a night that began with celebration, it ended as a stark reminder of the security risks surrounding the presidency. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Joining us live from Washington, D.C. is Mr. Peter Kuznick. He's a professor of history and director of the Nuclear Studies Institute at the American University. Professor Kuznick, thank you very much for your time and welcome to the broadcast. This is a very trying moment for the United States. As the governors did say, it is a fluid situation. The suspect has been arrested, but he's not cooperating with the law enforcement officials. The motive of this incident or this attack is still unknown. If it was targeted against Trump, this will be the third attempted assassination against the U.S. president. Your reviews and comments?
It's a reflection of how polarized American society is. You know, people in the United States don't just disagree, they vilify, they demonize their opponents. Both parties treat the other party as an existential threat. And so you put that together with 400 to 500 million civilian-held firearms in the United States, more than 40,000 gun deaths every year, and you've got a volatile mix right now that it's terrible when these things happen, but it's not really that surprising.
Professor, there's so many leaders or world leaders who have condemned this incident. They say that violence is not accepted in a democracy like the United States. We've had leaders from India, from Australia, from Canada, from Africa condemning this latest incident. In your view, what needs to happen now?
We need to tone down the rhetoric on all sides, but not just the rhetoric, the government's behavior. When you have a Secretary of War, Defense, Pete Hegseth, saying we negotiate with bombs, when you have the statements by Stephen Miller saying we only respect force, it's the law of the jungle, might makes right, that's the way it's always been. When you have the things the president says, attacking the media, attacking his opponents, personally, these ad hominem attacks, you put that together and there's going to be this kind of violence. And we've seen it against Republicans, we've seen it against Democrats, and we've seen it against other individuals. So it's sadly a very violent society which people have easy access to guns. And that's just a dangerous mix that we have right now. Mm-hmm. When the United States shoots down those gunboats in the Caribbean, supposedly drug dealers, but we don't even know this. You can't, it's against international law. The U.S. war against Iran is against international law. And so if your government is going to be doing that, then people get the message that it's okay for them too. It's not okay on any level. On a personal level, on a political level, on a global level, we need to find peaceful ways to resolve our differences. Mm-hmm. That can be done and it needs to be done.
Well, the suspect will be arraigned on Monday and he has several charges against him. What do you think will happen in court on Monday when this suspect, who has refused to cooperate with the law enforcement agencies?
This is a highly educated man. He went to Caltech, one of the best universities in the country, and graduated from there. He's got a master's degree. He apparently left a manifesto in which he discussed what he was going to do, or at least why he was doing it. We haven't seen it yet. I know that the Attorney General will bring additional charges when in court on Monday. I don't know if the suspect is going to speak at all, if he's going to reveal anything, or he's going to stay silent. Apparently, so far, he's not been cooperating. But they're going to throw the book at him. He's going to probably spend the rest of his life in jail for this. And I hope the message is that this is not acceptable behavior, no matter how much you might dislike the members of this administration. There are other ways to deal with this. There's going to be elections in November. There are other protests. And there's ways to voice your opposition without resorting to this kind of violence.
Professor, just hold on for a minute, because I believe the president has spoken about the suspect. But before we get to that, the president did speak about a certain ballroom that is constructing at the White House. He says that if the ballroom would have been constructed by now, this would never have happened. Your reaction?
I'm not really in a position to comment on that. I know that there are procedures. If you want to build things in the White House, there are ways to do that. And that the president bypassed all of the procedures that are in place for doing so. So that's why they were able to challenge it in the courts. But you need to get architects involved. You need to get historians involved. This is a historic building. It's not Trump's building. Trump is going to be out of there in another couple of years. And so, but this, for the country to think that a president can just cavalierly do whatever he wants is not the way the American people think about the White House or the presidency or historic monuments or the Kennedy Center for that matter. And Trump puts his name on things and he rebuilds things. So there are ways to do it. And if there's a valid reason for doing so, then it should move forward.
Professor, stay with me. Like I told you, we have some information coming in from Washington, D.C.